Good morning, welcome to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. My name is Sage Babalola. It's a beautiful day, 30th day in the month of October 2025, less than 24 hours before the new month, and it almost feels like we've been doing a countdown, but for great reasons. We are excited for all the amazing things that the rest of the year has to offer. You have about 2 more months to make critical decisions about your life, at least within the year 2025, but you have nothing to worry about. Yes, I know that you feel like you're running out of time as the year slowly comes to an end, but I can assure you 2 months is still a significant enough time to start something. You might not be able to finish it, but it would be great that you take this opportunity to start something. The best time to start is now, but the next best time is tomorrow. We are very excited because the papers are giving us stories, developments on issues that we had been previously confused about. Although 100% clarity has not been provided, but at least we have information regarding these issues. All the aspects of the story that we did not really understand, some clarity have been provided to these issues. Fᴜʟᴜ will join us via the phone as we begin to break down these conversations. And if you're catching trends in the papers for the first time, it's just as the subject matter trends in the papers. That's about it. We're looking at stories that have trended, especially those that are being reported on the front covers of our dailies. We have The Guardian, we have The Punch, and we have the Vanguard newspaper. As I said, Fᴜʟᴜ will join us pretty soon so we can begin analysis on these stories. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube, so please join our social media community. We would love to see you. We would love to see your messages. We would love to see your interaction. Please follow our page, like, share, comment, tell your friends about us, let them join us. And as you know, we've been quite generous, to be honest. We've been rewarding those who have been very loyal to the station in the last couple of years especially, and we intend to continue on that streak for a while, at least into the festivities. So this is an opportunity for you to not just see Mainland 98.3 FM. Fᴜʟᴜ, good morning to you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good morning, Sage. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you so much. How was your day yesterday?
Okay,
that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
And I enjoyed the show in the evening. I was just listening, and a lot was revealed. Interesting.
What was revealed? What's the lot that was revealed?
No, don't worry.
That was revealed.
A lot was said, a lot was revealed, and a lot was known. I like the fact that Madam 괜ᴜᴜ came in, at least was able to now, from experience, was able to guide the conversation and end it very well for you. Not just, it was interesting to listen to, young people pouring out their minds, saying a whole lot of things. And as a man too, a veteran. It's okay. But I was nice to listen to a lot of gist. I don't know, for people who are not listening, it's good to listen to that show. It's better to tell them about governance issues and all of that. It's a nice show to just really listen to the mind of the new generation, which is things a bit different from the way we see it in our own generation.
Welcome once again to Trends in the Papers on Mainland FM. Let's look at the Punch newspaper and start like that. We have coup controversy. Military tracks 45 billion naira in NDDC. Now, military investigation into alleged coup plot has reportedly uncovered a trail is detained in connection with the rumored conspiracy to topple President Bola Tinubu's administration earlier this month. Sahara reporters reported that 16 Nigerian army officers were detained for allegedly planning of the 16 officers to a failed coup. But multiple reports on Tuesday said that some Nigerian army personnel raided the Abuja residence of ex-governor Timipe Silva and also former Minister of State for Petroleum. There is panic among the NDDC headquarters over alleged links to the financing, emphasizing that the federal government is still insisting and denying that there's anything like a coup plot. But the defense headquarters, as sources, was the first name linked to this alleged coup plot. And now we have the NDDC named where some monies were paid to even the 16 officers that were initially into the bank account of these individuals who have been suspected. And at the moment, the NDDC is currently unsettled because even NDDC, Fwa, do you think that it's about time for the federal government to get on top of this situation and actually tell us what it is? Because this report has been suppositions and assumption becomes the fact. So would it be advisable that they're able to provide so we know what exactly is going on? And what are your thoughts about the NDDC now being named?
Speculated because again, these sources are still not named. If you read to the former minister and former governor of Bayelsa State, although I agreed to the fact that yes, there was a raid on and that look, yes, they came in, ransacked the whole property, but they didn't find any sensitive material to take anything away really. But because it is the military ransacking, because if it was the police or maybe the EFCC would have said maybe it's linked and it's searching this property, ransacking this property, then we might begin to see that look, maybe indeed there's something to this whole story of an alleged, maybe there's a petition somewhere and all of that, but even if it looks a bit suspect, whether the federal government needs to make clarifications on this, make a statement on this, I don't necessarily think so. Again, time will reveal. I just think that look, we'll get somewhere with this eventually. The truth, if it is true that there was a coup attempt, will eventually be unraveled. Give you regular updates, even though sources are not named. And I understand why you might not necessarily want to name sources who are giving out this information. This whole story may just have been true, but we're not sure. We can't work with speculation until we have the fact.
Recent information regarding this alleged coup plot, at least according to the Punch, as I said yesterday, it was Tᴜɪᴜ being the first politically exposed person to be named.
And then the NDDC now is coming, so yes, been transferred.
Has also been mentioned. I believe 45 billion naira is the money that has been named, or the figure names that have been confirmed. And maybe sometime in the future we can have the presidency actually address this and put things into proper perspective. But in the absence of that, we just have to work with these reports. We're still looking at the Punch newspaper. Since we're talking, service chiefs on Wednesday pledged to overhaul the nation's security architecture through strategic foreign partnership, local arms production, into representatives. It held simultaneously by both chambers of the National Assembly, and it was marked by rigorous questioning, closed-door session, commitment by the officers to reposition the armed forces for modern warfare and sustained security. So they do have some sort of structure in place with arms production. I think most of our arms are being purchased, and I think we have agreements with some countries that give us arms. Those are ship, local arms production, interagency collaboration, and also welfare for those.
Well, the service chiefs made an appearance at the National Assembly, and the summary of it all is that look, the idea of the new chief of defense, who himself was the former chief of the new party of army staff, is that look, how do we want to do that? It would be nice to have more details, unless it is going to be covert operations that they don't want to be brought to the public. But that in itself are welfare. In fact, if you look at the Vanguard report, I think it was a bit more detailed, where they were talking about funding for the police. In fact, in the values, so that they can allow the military to concentrate more on their mandate when it comes to external aggression and the protection of their territorial integrity. You understand what local manufacturing of arms and ammunition. The reality is that look, and long-term solutions. So, because again, manufacturing arms locally is not something that can happen overnight. The question is, do we even have the technological know-how? In the short term, all of these Mukarawa, bandits, kidnappers, disturbing people in different parts of the country, reorganizing the military architecture of the country. Even if it's about insecurity, not about something else, I'm sure that I'm solutions to the problem we have on ground. Are we doing it? We did it under Jonathan, I think for like 2 weeks. So we need to ask ourselves, if the Nigerian military is looking overwhelmed and their performance, despite short term, then medium term, we cannot begin to look at restructuring the entire security architecture of the country. I'm surprised that up to now, again, it was look, it's almost like, from what I heard yesterday, it's almost like us having old wine in new bottle. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
That's because there was something wrong somewhere. And I'm avoiding using the word cool now. But if it was about really achieving better security for Nigeria, it would be nice what would be their short-term solutions to the problem we have in security, their medium-term solutions, and then their long-term plan. As it stands, sorry.
Trends in the papers on Milan 98.3 FM. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube. Do well to join the live stream and interact. You can also share the live stream so that your followers on these platforms can join the conversation. Have Tinubu revokes pardon for Sanda, 140 high kidnappers and fraudsters following public outrage that trailed the initial clemency list released on October 11. This came as the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, said lawful possession of firearms dealing etc. were deleted from the list. Others who had been hitherto pardoned in the old list had names in total that were released to enjoy presidential pardon, clemency, sentence, commuting, amongst other things. The presidency decided to consider these outcry and make some sort of adjustment. I believe that when we spoke earlier, I had asked the questions, which they have done now. So some people have been removed from that list. We have Miriam Sanda, who was one of the most controversial names on that list. Now, she was supposed to serve life sentence for the murder of her. In fact, out of the 85 persons that were supposed to be pardoned, they've reduced that list to 15. And the other ones, there's a reduction in their sentences, and there's some whose names were completely struck out from the list. Would you say that?
Yes, I think that this is exactly what we're saying. We talk about checks and balances in a democracy, and sometimes we tend to want to limit it to the three arms of government. To talk about the integrity of the judiciary. You will expect that the fourth estate of the realm comes in. And people, civil society organizations should also step up. And as you can see, why we keep calling for us to have a functional democracy. Now, we have to commend the president for listening to the people on this particular issue. And I must say that for those who think that loving the president or support, there were people, when we started raising these issues, when Nigeria started calling for the right thing to be done on this particular matter, there are people there, to them the president can never do anything that is wrong. The presidency can never be wrong. So it is good that the president has avoided the psychophants, at least on this one, and has decided to do a review of that list for many quarters.
Yeah.
The only thing that happened yesterday, and I saw that 𝐶𝐿 with the 5K called it out, was when Sanders' name was available to the press. The name was omitted, but on the Gazette, her name was there.
Yeah. So
people are wondering, is it that but eventually, when Bayo Ononuga to update the press release, her name was now added. So I'm not infallible. When
forfeiture. Now, NDLEA is filing forfeiture case against Pretty Mike's Club over drug party. The chairman, chief executive of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Buba Marwa, retired, has disclosed that the agency raided a drug party held at Proxy nightclub located at 7 Akiandeshola Street, Victoria Island, where operatives arrested over organizers had circulated flyers inviting people to what was described as a drug party. Now, the NDLEA has given us some sort of insight into their operations. They sent undercover agents to the club when they got here, and then after a while they had raided the club, arrested the club owner, Pretty Mike, arrested his manager and a few other people in attendance. Although some people have regained their freedom, maybe after their investigation, and they saw that some people were tried. And right now they're trying to file for forfeiture. And in fact, the NDLEA is warning that any club or any hotelier that allows for drug activities to happen within their prevalence in the country and drug abuse as well. What?
You see, the brazenness, it is not just to having a drug party in itself. It's just unbelievable. You don't understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You cannot organize the party and call it a drug party. What is the name of that man, sir? Is it Pretty Mike?
Yes.
Pretty Mike. You know this guy very well, have you?
Yeah.
The things he does.
Yeah.
How much of a public nuisance he has become, really, in reality. about our lawyers to check whether people cannot be held accountable on the issues of public decency. And when I say things, I think there must be something about you becoming a public nuisance and being held accountable under the law. This is a time where we have the NDLEA working through and noon, working day and night to ensure that they lead our society of drugs. And then you have somebody who calls himself a James is known to be a public nuisance, but the name of entertainment is not only on you, but the people who organize parties that also allow him to do those things in the parties. Putting the issues on them, and you tolerate it, you can't work him out. Then it means that you and the same person are, because you invited him, he does that to take a drug party. So I would hope that the Marwa, the NDLA, Pretty Mike and those who organize the party must also be prosecuted to serve as example to others. If you know some of these other countries, practically taking out boats suspected to be peddling drugs into the United States, organizing a drug party. I mean, you don't know what it is, a drug party.
Yeah, they distributed a flyer for a drug party. I said almost 100 people, and I'm sure there were more in that on the premise.
In a drug party.
Oh.
Urge them to do more, because we can't have this. There's a lot to do with already. Plenty of pushing. There are people who do all manner of things. I mean, not noticed. They just sitting freely.
I've not known. I don't notice that kind of thing. Sorry.
The job requires that we must see everything and know everything.
Well, that's the update for our side. That's and
it's unfortunate, really.
So other public building owners, they're warning them that if you allow it to happen on your premises, even you yourself, be ready to forfeit.
Cookies and biscuits, and
they put drugs in and cake. You start to see your
part of all of this is that look, for those that will run mad, they will run mad. They told them that we have only 200 psychiatrists, qualified psychiatrists to deal with their case. The other one is that, look, if your organs fail, because if you have the money to take care of yourself, where are the medical facilities?
Right.
I don't think the youth understand how bad things are. And they have to be careful.
Drugs. Maybe if they have a heart condition or a cardiac condition, and then you feed them drugs, they start to experience palpitations, and then they die. They had no idea. They thought they were eating snacks, and then you fed them drugs in lunch, so we can check a few reports. Although most of the reports are the same across the front pages for today, especially. Drama at National Assembly as Jambo. Drama unfolded on Wednesday at the National Assembly when representatives of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, WOC Honorable Ofoji had invited the examination body to appear before it to explain the details of its 2023 and 2024 budget performance. By Mufutau Alabi Bello, a director from the registrar's office, had barely settled into the meeting when trouble started. Moments after the lawmakers introduced themselves, the Jambo did not sit well with the lawmakers who refused it, citing transparency in public accountability. The Jam team, however, abruptly stood up and walked out as they had told the sergeant at arms to arrest the Jam representative. What have you spent? What have you not spent? Blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. The lawmakers, why? Closed door session like your minister of and the member said, why? I mean, it's just a simple question. Again, sergeant at arms were called in, but they had already left. Now, we have the committee saying that, if anything, we want the registrar himself to come. That they had written multiple representatives, and then they're upset. They walk out because they feel like the committee members are trying to embarrass them. But they've made it clear that if the registrar himself does not make himself available to the committee, they would take further.
No matter what we think of our legislators, whether our senators, House of Reps, they are still the elected representatives of the people. To speak, represent the ministry. You see, we are hoping that Professor Iṣẹ́ with Sage. This is a personal appeal to the prof that and not just mix everything up. All that beautiful record he has been able to create for himself.
I'm saying representative.
How did he, as big as that National Assembly, how did he win that place? And then Alabi, in fact, even what are we saying? What exactly are we saying? like I said, you might think Yoruba Sam is inspired the Nigerian people. What is the question? Even the possible start. Introduce yourself. Begin to give them information, and then maybe at some point they say, well, and I don't even see anything so serious that you cannot say about you cannot this jam, that snake, monkey, you're swallowing money. And we are told that under Professor you should produce yourself progress. On that committee, I will run after you. I'll fight you. Where are you going? Where are you going to? Not the, or maybe he doesn't understand what he has done. And the job minister that sent him there must apologize to Nigeria. And JAM must be accountable to the Nigerian people. They must bring their books out. And any other ministry and parastatal as that, they are not the one to go there themselves. What is the whole thing about your account? Then there must be something wrong with the account of JAM. But you've done that, now you come and tell Nigerians how you make money, how you have spent money, your contract and everything. You are saying you want to close up. Close up what? Close up meeting for what? You say most of the information are sensitive about money. Maybe this one is not snake and monkey again. That man must not be allowed to come back if he has not been arrested, but he must not, and now the registrar must come by himself.
What are you coming here to do? Is this Tales by Moonlight? Let's see your book.
For almost, look at the results now. All our children come and give stewardship, tell us how much you made, how much you spend. Simple.
Finish this conversation so that we can take a commercial break. Well, finally, for the Vanguard, Alashe Street, Oworoshoki area of Lagos, many residents, mostly women and children, are still stranded in the open with no shelter, no hope in sight, and nowhere to go. When Vanguard visited the area, the once leave and traded in peace. For the problem with the Oworoshoki demolition still at least spending the time they're able to sort out the selling it for cents on the dollar, really, and a lot of people still living on the streets. They don't know where to go. Disorganized. Why is it this messy is what I'm trying to
That state, and we've seen things like this happen over. And the things they do today, a Goshen that believes that, look, a lot of areas in Lagos need what you call urban, some of the level of developments we have in the city. So we have to begin to think about how to regenerate. There must be what you call inclusivity in urban regeneration. But when the Lagos state government or the government begins to behave like a Jagunbale, then there's a problem. On this issue of court order, I had read what the Attorney General of Lagos State and the Commissioner of Justice was saying, that it was an abuse of court processes, that the court order had not served. The court order came on Friday, but we went on demolition on Saturday. They even said they came overnight. So this blah blah blah, but the reality is this: government part of that land, there were some that have been excised, there. But this is the same thing we say. If the land had been acquired and it was a government, those number of houses just happened overnight. So the government left. The commissioner was saying they have told them not acquisition. It was about no building approval. But you know that even in the laws of Lagos State, my final one is that, look, I agree to about regeneration of the city of Lagos State in most communities, but it must be inclusive, and the government cannot continue to.
And Focus is Open Mic Thursday, so you can tell us what exactly is heavy on your mind.